Quick question. Which of these two spaces feels better to you? If you pick this one, great. If you pick the other one, why? Who hurt you? There's been so much research on why we prefer spaces like this and why they make us feel better. And that reason is called biophilia. It's just a really fancy way of saying humans have an innate connection to nature. And if we want to create spaces that we feel good in, we need to take this into account. It's so much more than just adding plants and flowers to your home. Keep watching this video and I'll show you exactly why. Number 11 is really interesting, and once you see it, you'll never be able to look at your environment in the same way again. Have you ever noticed how you instantly feel better when you're staring at a beautiful natural view? There are studies that back this up, and they say that it doesn't matter if you're looking at the real view or just an image of nature, seeing it lowers your blood pressure, your heart rate, so you just feel way less stress. This completely makes sense if you think about it, because we did not evolve in concrete boxes. We as humans spent thousands and thousands of years running from predators and gathering berries outside. So our brains naturally associate the outside and nature and green spaces with survival. And good news, you don't need to quit your job, leave the city and go live in the jungle to get the benefits. Even small changes can make a difference. First, you should maximize your window views. So if you have a view of trees, sky, or any natural element, arrange your furniture to face it. Don't spend your time staring at a wall unless you're 3 years old and you've been really naughty and you're told to go sit in the corner. If you live in a space where you have very small windows and very limited views outside, place mirrors opposite a window or near windows to double your natural light and greenery. And for your wall decoration, think of nature-inspired artworks and photographs. So think luscious forests, landscapes, instead of always using abstract art or pictures of people. Studies show that natural sounds like a bird singing, water flowing, the rustling of a leaf, they can all lower your stress levels. And meanwhile, background city noises drain energy from you without even you realizing it. I think this is why, for example, if you go to a waterfall, the sound of the water can be incredibly loud, but you don't find that too stressful. Rather, it's very refreshing and exhilarating. But if you go to a really busy junction and you hear the same volume of noise, you do not feel happier and you do not feel more excited. So the quality of sounds are not equal, even if they are at similar volumes. To bring more of the soothing, biophilic sounds into your space, here's what you can do. If you have a garden or live near a park, open the windows once in a while. Let the real sounds in. Listen to what the animals are shouting at each other. Yes, the birds could be screaming at each other, complaining about the amount of poop the pigeon is creating in the city, but you would never know. All you would hear are beautiful bird sounds. There are a lot of scents coming from nature that have been scientifically proven to reduce our stress and make us focus better. Japanese studies actually also found that forests release chemicals that somehow make you feel happy. So if you're living somewhere with really good air that's not polluted, open your windows, get some fresh air in, it's free. And then you can also use real plant-based scents instead of something super artificial, like actual herbs in your kitchen or on your dining table, or a very subtle essential oil diffuser with pine or lavender. And you can also add naturally fragrant materials, bits of dried wood, citrus peels. Our ancestors lived in forests, plains, and caves, constantly interacting with the physical world. Knowing how things felt weren't luxuries, they were how they managed to survive. Wet, slippery stone could mean danger, while dry, firm ground meant it was safe to walk on. So when you run your hand over wood, stone, linen, you're not just enjoying the nice feeling of texture, but you're triggering ancient pathways that signal safety and familiarity. So fill your home with real materials, textures that you can touch, because it'll make you feel better. Instead of getting glossy plastic vases, get a clay one. If you're trying to decide between a glass dining table versus a wooden dining table, go for the wood. Imagine you spent the whole day staring at a computer screen. Your eyes are dry and blinking very hard. You look up outside and suddenly a bird flutters by, and a ray of sunlight shifts across the room. A tree branch sways. For a second, your brain snaps out of focus. It's a nice moment. This is what researchers call non-rhythmic sensory stimuli, which is a really fancy way of saying your brain likes really random bits of nature happening in the background. And when you have something even like a 20-second micro break where you're staring at the movement of some leaves or your cat licking itself, it resets your brain just a little bit and makes you feel a sigh of relief. And this works for all of your senses and all sorts of things, so like the sound of a rustling leaf, the movement of fish in a fish tank swimming around. So to introduce more of this into your space, work near a window. You might be a little bit distracted, but you feel better. Also add features around you that mimic natural movement. So like curtains that move when it gets some breeze from the window, pets in your home that look really cute and move around. People really love water and they love the sound of water. Moving water like ripples, waves, or even light reflecting off a pool can hold your attention without exhausting your brain. This is called soft fascination. Views like this keeps you engaged without draining you. And then there's also the survival factor of why we find water so soothing. Humans evolved around water. If you found a water source, you can cook with it, you can drink it, you can swim in it, you can clean in it. This will ensure your survival. Well, unless the water source you found is seawater and you can't swim. That's why landscapes with water are always rated more calming and beautiful than dry ones. So how do you bring this effect into your home without turning your living room into a swimming pool? Decorate your home with artwork, photographs where there's water in the composition. And if you're someone who likes to decorate surfaces around your home, maybe you can also think about adding different water features in there. A water bowl with floating candles or flower petals, or replace some of the indoor plants you have with ones that hold water like ferns, peace lilies, or small tabletop water plants. And if you have some outdoor space in a garden to play with, you can also add a small courtyard water fountain, a reflecting pool, or a bird bath for wildlife. Most buildings aim to light their space in an even, consistent way, but nature doesn't work like that, and neither do we. Your brain is obsessed with moving light. When you are looking at sunlight flickering through tree leaves or reflections rippling on a wall, this sort of lighting movement is like soft fascination for your brain. Now compare that to rooms with flat, even lighting. No variation, no movement, no intrigue. It's like the entire office space of Severance. Everything is evenly lit and super depressing. So you need to also light your space so it mimics the dynamic movements and the natural movement of shadows and light in nature. So of course, it goes without saying that during the day, you should try to maximize the amount of natural daylight your home gets. And in the evening, instead of relying on really big, consistent overhead lights and ceiling lights everywhere, layer your lighting. Use multiple light sources, like a combination of table, wall, floor lamps. Create pools of light around different functions. I have like loads of other videos on my channel about lighting your space, so you can check it out afterwards. Natural light shifts throughout the day. Morning light wakes you up and boosts your energy. Midday light is brightest and sharpest, helping you stay alert. And the evening light is softer, warmer, telling your brain it's time to relax and wind down for the day. This is why sitting under a cold blue light at night is really bad for you, unless you're wanting to pull an all-nighter, which I think is still pretty bad for you. So if you're someone who's more into like smart gadgets, you can install smart light bulbs that change the color temperature throughout the day. By the way, if you've noticed an increase in the quality of my videos lately, this is because I've been learning skills using Skillshare, which is the largest online learning community for creators, who are also the sponsor of this video. My first official sponsored video, guys, with a contract and everything. Please be happy for me. I feel like ever since I quit my job to become a YouTuber, this is like the first indication almost that I'm officially doing it. I mean, I've been really trying to up the quality of them and still being efficient and produce them as fast as possible because I'm literally doing everything myself. And learning new skills like, for example, prompting for editing scripts and checking for grammar in my scripts, or, AI video generation on Skillshare really helped. I recently took this class called Create AI Videos with Sora, Unleash Your Imagination, which really helped me figure out how to turn the ideas in my head into videos that support the information in seconds. This is crazy. I come up with some ideas, or I use an existing static image and I put it into Sora, write prompts, and then you get a video in seconds. Can we just appreciate the insane knowledge we could all have right now and the skills that we could be learning? And if you're not interested in AI, that's also okay, because Skillshare has literally thousands of creative classes from beginner to advanced levels, covering all sorts of topics like illustration, interior design, video editing, 3D modeling. It's designed by creators for creators, with classes taught by industry experts. And if I ever produce a class in the future, I'll probably put it on Skillshare. All the classes encourage you to use the hands-on learn by doing methods by asking you to share your own project after each class. And like everything that's good and online nowadays, it's on demand and the lessons are stackable, so you can learn at your own pace whenever it's convenient for you. The first 500 people to use my link in the description below will receive 1 whole month free trial of Skillshare. You have literally nothing to lose. You have 1 month to go and learn everything that's creative that you ever wanted. Most of us live in climate-controlled little boxes where the changes of the season no longer really affects us. It happens somewhere out there, but not in our homes. And this disconnect is a little bit problematic because we are supposed to notice things changing. Before clocks and calendars, we relied on noticing the natural patterns of things, when to plant crops, to when animals would migrate, to when storms were coming. If you weren't paying attention, you probably would not have survived. So if your home never changes, even though the outside world does, it kind of feels like something is wrong and something could be missing. So here's how you can make more seasonal changes visible in your home. Use seasonal decor and materials, light linen cushions in summer, cozy wool in winter. Instead of relying only on artificial shade in outdoor spaces, you can plant climbing vines or seasonal greenery that shift with the seasons. And you should also fill your home with natural materials and let them just like patina and age. Not everything in your home needs to look brand new forever. It's a reminder that change is natural and also beautiful. Actually, it also helps if you just stare into a mirror and say this to yourself every now and then. If you look at these two spaces and how the materials are flowing into each other, which one do you think you're more drawn to? I'm pretty sure if your priority is to feel good and not to look cool, then you would go for the more organically shaped spaces. Most modern buildings rely on straight lines, sharp angles, rigid grids, which just doesn't really occur in the natural world. Instead, nature gives us curves, spirals, branching forms, and fractals. And when we see those shapes in design, our brain subconsciously recognizes them as familiar and comforting. This is called biomorphic design, using forms and patterns that mimic the structures we see in nature. And it's everywhere once you start looking for it. So if you want to bring more of nature into your home, you can swap sharp-edged furniture for softer curved forms, chairs, tables, mirrors. You can choose fabrics, wallpapers, or rugs with floral, leaf-like, or wave-inspired patterns instead of rigid grids or stripes. And if you're building your own home or you're renovating, you can incorporate architectural elements that mimic nature, like arched doorways, curved staircases, or windows with soft organic shapes. In the details like ceiling beams, railings, column designs, you can also draw inspiration from branches or trees. And if you're planning a garden path, instead of using really straight, predictable paths, why don't you opt for irregular pathways? If we look at this hotel in Brussels, it's a masterpiece of biomorphic design. Everything you see in this image here, from the swirling staircase to the vine-like metal railings, the flower-patterned mosaics, and flowing window design, feels alive, like nature itself shaped the space. I mean, obviously it's really difficult and expensive to build like this and design like this nowadays, so we don't do it. But it doesn't mean we can't draw certain elements from these things and put them into our home because we know we will like it. Which of these two rooms seems more inviting to you? Most of you might agree that the left appears joyful and friendly, while the right feels uninspiring and bland. One key reason is the absence of a design element that's found everywhere in nature, and that's fractals. Fractals are basically repeating patterns that show up at different scales, like the branching of trees or the veins of a leaf. Fractals appear in rivers, clouds, even our own bodies, and our brains find them visually satisfying because they echo the logic of nature, complex but not chaotic. We evolved in environments full of fractals, so when interiors strip them away, replacing natural patterns with violently flat walls and sterile surfaces, we feel that loss. So when you're choosing furniture, opt for natural materials that express visual complexity, like a walnut table with swirling grain patterns, a marble surface with strong veining. Just compare these two kitchens. Tell me which one looks more alive and rich and friendly. It's probably the one that is full of fractal-inspired patterns, like the marble surface, the wood grain. You can also add in a lot of plants and greenery with branching forms and patterned leaves like ferns, monsteras, fiddle-leaf figs. They're all rich in fractal geometry. For textiles and wallpaper, choose prints with organic repetition like floral motifs, tree branches, or wavy lines that echo natural rhythms. You can also incorporate artwork inspired by nature, line drawings of leaves, landscapes, or hand-carved wood textures. Imagine you walk into a cafe, you scan the room, and there are a couple of options. There's a table in the middle of the room, a cozy booth in the corner, or a window seat in the corner with a clear view of the surroundings. People would instinctively pick the booth seat or the window seat, but not the one in the middle, because people generally like to be able to see what's happening around them without feeling exposed. We evolved on open savannas where having a clear vantage point meant spotting food, water, or danger before it got too close. This need to be able to see what's around us is called prospect in environmental psychology. So it's only natural that people nowadays feel more comfortable and less stressed in spaces that allow them to see into the distance, because they still have this instinct embedded in us. So many modern buildings often forget this completely. So here's what you can do in your own home to maximize the idea of prospect. If you have a door between public rooms, could you have internal glass doors instead that give you a bit of privacy but still offers you sightlines throughout the home? You can also move around your furniture so you're maximizing the view the chair gets. So if you're walking into an open space, instead of having chairs and sofas with your back, could you orient it so you can always see what is going on around you when you're sitting? Combine it with a refuge, because the best spaces have both a great view and a sense of safety. Think of a cozy window seat, corner of your home where you can look out while feeling tucked away. So move your furniture around until you feel like in most of the important places where you're sitting down, you feel protected with a good view. If you found this topic interesting, I've listed a couple of books I've been reading that goes into this topic in way more detail. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, not all of the books are going to be very interesting reads. Some of them are quite dry and academic. So you could also just continue watching my videos and I'll give you the best, juiciest stuff. And of course, please subscribe to the channel, because I'm gonna continue making videos like this so you can just continue learning with me and make your home really, really nice. Thanks, bye.